Caldo De Res Mexiquito recipe. Not because I want to be fancy. Do you like warm hugs? Close the jar. My childhood. Hey guys, Busy Mommy here, and today I'm going to bring you a warm and cozy recipe. It's pretty cold here in Illinois right now, and there's snow on the ground. I love warm soup, and in particular just reminds me a lot of my grandma, and so it makes me very happy. What soup am I going to make today? This is going to be my meal prep soup for the week. So last week I had chicken tortilla soup. This week I'm gonna do a keto-friendly version of Caldo De Res. So Caldo De Res is like a beef soup. It's not like a stew because it's not thick. It's very, very rich in flavor, very delicious, very yummy. Typically with this soup, you add corn, potatoes, chayote, which is a starchy vegetable as well, which actually doesn't have a lot of carbs, but because I'm going keto, I'm not gonna add the potatoes. Honestly, I never really ate the potatoes anyway. But what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna add my vegetables. Now you can add really whatever vegetables you want to this. Some people add green beans. My grandma did sometimes put green beans in them, like whole green beans. I have zucchini, I have carrot, I have cabbage, onion, which I have to put in for the meat. I'm gonna add 2 tomatoes because I kind of like that flavor that it gives. Now this soup takes a long time to make. So you use beef shank. Beef shank comes with like these bones. You want the bones in the soup. You can take them out. So I usually cut the meat off the bone just so that I can just take the bones out once it's ready. This soup freezes so well. It's so good for that. Let's start. First thing you do is you rinse the meat. Now, my grandma always did this. I don't rinse all the meat that I use, but this one in particular, just because the more you rinse it, the less dark your soup is going to be, because you want it to be brothy. So I rinsed it probably about 4 times in a colander, and then I put it in a bowl just to catch any more water that comes in. But I rinsed it with a colander. Now we're going to take the beef shank and then the pieces of meat. I'm going to put it in a pot. The pot that I have is actually my Puerto Rican rice pot, which any of my Boricuas out there know that is what you use to make Puerto Rican rice. Right now I can't have any. I'm gonna work on some cauliflower Puerto Rican fried rice, we'll see. But it has in there 3.5 quarts or 14 cups of water. I'm gonna go ahead and add the meat now because it takes probably about 3 hours to cook all the way through. I'm gonna add the meat now along with the onion and some salt, and we're going to let it cook for a little bit while we get the rest of the veggies ready. So let's put it to boil. Okay, so I put about 3.5 pounds of meat in there. You could half that recipe, but the reason why I'm doing this in 3.5 pounds, the soup freezes really well. So what I would do is if you like this type of soup, then just make it in a big batch and then freeze it in 3 different batches so that you can reheat for whenever you want to use it. I'm gonna let that cook for about an hour. So I'm gonna cut up my veggies. I did cut some of them up, but what I do is I take my zucchini and I cut it in half, and then I cut it in diagonal shapes, just bigger chunks, because this is gonna cook in there for a while. Mind you, because zucchini doesn't take very long, that's gonna be my last vegetable that I put in. And then I'm gonna cut the carrots. Now I cut them in diagonal, not because I wanna be fancy, but because I don't want little like tiny rounds of carrots, which you end up with if you cut it in circles. But if I cut it this way, they all kind of end up sort of uniform. Not really, but at least better than it would if I was doing circles. So I'm gonna keep cutting the rest of my carrots. The carrots will go in. Once I skim the top the first time, I'll throw the carrots in. And then the last like 30 minutes, I'll probably throw the cabbage and the other in. Now I have a small cube of nor, which is like chicken stock, but this is like a tomato flavored one. Now that everything's cut up and ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and put it to the side. Then we're gonna skim our broth. So as soon as that happens, we'll get to the next step. Oh, you know what though? While we're waiting for the next step, now is the perfect time for you to like, subscribe, and comment how you like your caldo de res. Do you eat it all year long? Have you made it before? Do you like brothy soups? Do you like warm hugs, as Olaf says, because this soup gives you a warm hug. All right, so like, subscribe, and comment while we wait for that soup to be ready. All right, so now it's been cooking for a little bit over 60 minutes, maybe like an hour and 10 minutes, I skim the top. Sometimes if you don't wash it really well, you'll get like foam that you need to skim, but I just skimmed off some of this oil on top. You can leave a little bit, it's totally fine. Just the less you have, you know, the better it'll taste. And now I'm going to add in my heavier veggies. So I'm gonna add in my carrots. I'm gonna let that go for another 40 minutes. So let's add in some carrots. So now that I've added the carrots, I'm gonna go ahead and add a bouillon cube. So I have this tomato-based bouillon cube. Again, you can do beef-based bouillon cube. You can just do chicken bouillon cube. I just like the tomato one. I just like the flavor the tomato gives. So I put that in, stirred it up. Now I'm gonna let it sit with the lid slightly ajar, just because if you close the jar, if you close the lid, it really boils a lot and then it can overboil on you, and you don't want that. But I also don't want to leave it uncovered because it'll definitely go down and we want that broth. Let it sit for another 40 minutes, medium to low heat, and you're good to go. Now it's been another 40 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of the veggies. So the 2 tomatoes, the cabbage, and the zucchini. And now you're gonna cover it again and let all these vegetables cook through. All right, so we're back. We have made the caldo. It took about 3.5 hours. The meat is literally fall apart so good. It's done. Yummy, super flavorful, love it. Now what you can add to it, which is what I like to add to it, I'm gonna add some pico de gallo with some jalapeno because it gives a little spice, and then a little lime because who doesn't love a little lime? But now it's time to taste. It is super hot because it's been cooking for like 3.5 hours, but I'm excited. You ready? Oh, my childhood. I don't know what to tell you guys. It makes me want to tear up. It reminds me of my grandma. Oh, it's so good. Super flavorful, rich flavors with a broth that makes you feel so warm and cozy, like you're getting a nice hug. So that being said, I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It's time now to eat this, so I'm gonna go. But as always, peace, love, and keto. And remember that you are amazing, you can do anything, and I hope you enjoyed this Mexiketo recipe. Love y'all. Bye. Oh, I can't wait to eat this whole bowl. So good.